Hello, team. I want to walk you through some basics of Clever to help you get going. I do recommend that you use this at all levels, pre-K through 12, because it allows easy access to resources for your students. You nor they have to log in and out of different resources. I think from the teacher side, it's wonderful to use Clever as well, not just with your students, because again, it allows you to, without having to log in and out of something, use Clever. Clever will log you in and out of resources just by logging into Clever once. It's a great resource for everybody. So I'm going to walk you through the basics here, keeping in mind that for you as a teacher to log in, you're going to use your Foundation Academy Gmail information. Same for students. However, at the lower school, we do also provide them with a badge that they can scan with their computer camera without having to type in the information for their Google accounts. Upper school, they're old enough to type in their information. But again, once you log in, you have access to lots of information and you can share information with students as well. So let's go through that. If you're logging in for the first time, you could see a yellow banner up top here that says something about messaging parents. Please X that banner out. And if you did not receive my previous email about updating messaging, please click on your user icon, email preferences, and please make sure to toggle off Clever messaging. We do not want messaging to be available. We would like for you to communicate with your families via Gmail and via the RenWeb Family Portal app. All right, back to the main screen here. You have a page of your own that you can develop. I will show you how to do that in a moment. And you have a Just For You section that you can work in. You also have the ability down in the right-hand corner here to add a new page if you would like, or even an app, and I'll cover the app in a second. Further down, you have several categories. You have a favorites category, perhaps, if you have favorited an app, as Brittany has. You have a curriculum category, a resources category, perhaps an academic services category, and you see next to it district. That's because that has been set up by administration. So we have set up apps based on your level and your subject areas that you can utilize. And if you do not see something there that you want, please just submit a ticket and let us know. I will also show you how to add a free app in the library that does not require our permission. If it requires a subscription or payment, it will require our permission. So a tech ticket will be required. So to favorite an app, as Brittany has done here, you're just going to select the heart next to it and you will see it move up to your favorite section. Again, it will say district if it was added by us. Once you begin adding your own apps, it will look a little bit different. So let's look up at the menu options you have on your dashboard here. So this is your home room or your home page or your dashboard. Messaging, again, we're not going to have that turned on, so you should receive an error. Library is where you're going to select apps. Now I'll show you here what that looks like. So let's look at one that I know is going to be free. So Kahoot is a free app. So if you look under pricing on the right-hand side, it says freemium. That's an app that you likely would be able to add yourself. I cannot, because from an admin, I can't add an app for a teacher, so it's not going to let me since I'm accessing Brittany's portal. But you would select install, and then it would allow you to add it. It will not allow me to add it on her behalf, though. So there are plenty of apps within the store. You are free to go in. If it is free and it is student friendly, please. Quizzes is a great one. If you have been a teacher who has used Kahoot for a long time in the upper schools particularly, Quizzes is a great one. If you want more information, let me know, or you're welcome to look into it yourself. There are plenty of apps in here that are great. Lower school, Go Noodle, so much fun. I love Go Noodle, and so do the students. Gets them up and moving. So plenty for you to look at here. You can browse by category, etc. And have some resources there to help you teach. And again, in the lower school especially, these kinds of things really do help us to get the kids more engaged and moving, as opposed to the handwriting, which is an important skill, but it's good to mix it up, especially with all the technology that we have these days. Another option that you have is analytics. And on the back, we do follow the analytics now that we have that available. On your side, it allows you to see when students have been active. We do want to see both you and the students engaging in Clever. So we will check the analytics to see who's involved. We want to see you accessing texts and resources from Clever, so we can see if you've linked to that resource within Clever, if we have that icon for you available. And this allows you to see what students have been doing. Again, let's not message here. Let's use Gmail and RenWeb Portal. But you also have a few more things. So you can launch an app to a student, so you can send them directly to a student through their Clever. You can log a student out. You can also view their profile. So to view a student's profile, this is what it would look like. Here you can see the student's name, you can see the parent's name, you can download a badge for that student, which we'll talk about more. You can also get a backup login code if the camera or the badges are not working. So as a teacher, you have a lot of access here to help you troubleshoot and manage during a class period if the tech is failing us. You can also access the student information by selecting classes in the top right-hand corner. These are all of your classes and more in some cases. So if I were Miss Brittany Armstrong, I could launch an app to my entire class here. And when it opens up, I would choose the app and it would send all of those students to the apps if they have access to that app. So what the student has access to also depends on the teachers that they have, their age, and so on. You also can log everybody out. If Clever, maybe you're done with Clever and you want to just manually log all your students out, you can select there. You also can open up and begin to see student information. So as you toggle over each student here, to the right, you're going to be able to see that profile information again. You can see where you can download a new badge for them, also get that backup login code. And so this would be rostered by class as opposed to analytics where you can see all of your students at once. To switch between classes, you're going to be up here at the top. Here, you can actually change your class nickname. You're going to be able to go back to all classes, and then you select another class from that screen. So you can toggle between classes here, change the names as you wish. You can also, from the screen, download a class set of badges, which is very beneficial. So as your class rosters change, you can go to the individual student, or let's say you're seeing a big splurge in everybody losing their badges, you can download a new class set there as well. It's also important to see that you can void a badge. So voiding a badge would be for a student who lost their badge. You would void it. It would create a new badge for them, and then you would download that and print it for the student to have the new badge. You will also want to make sure that the families have the badge, so you could email that badge to the families at home if you're going to have students in the lower school logging into Clever from home to access resources for homework or possibly for remote learning days. All right, I'm going to click back on homeroom to get us back to this main page here. So we've gone over most of this. I'm going to click into the page, the actual teacher page, because this is an important resource that you can personalize for your students in your class. So when you click on the icon there, you have a couple of options to edit the sharing, to personalize, or delete that page. You'll also get all of these options within the actual class. So I'm going to go into the class here. You'll see on the left-hand side that you have a bar where you can see all students. These are not separated by class. This is all students. And if you click the arrow, you have those same options that you've seen before. So downloading that badge or voiding it, getting that backup login code, and viewing their profile. If you do not want to see all students on this, click that top arrow, boom, they disappear. It's also where you can change those sharing permissions. So you can share your page with everybody you teach, with one particular class, or with just yourself. Perhaps you're making some changes, you don't want students to see it yet. I have Brittany set to all students because I'm going to show you the student side of this shortly so that you can see what they're seeing. You also have your login tools, download student badges for all of your students. You can launch an app and log out all of your students at once. All right, when you get to this page, let me delete this as I was playing around. This is what you're going to see if you have nothing in your page. So you probably want to begin adding resources if you want to use this for your students. I'm going to move my menu out of the way. Down on the bottom right, you're going to click Add, and then you have plenty of options to choose from. Category, that's like what we saw on our page, where you have the resources and the curriculum and the favorites. So you can create categories. You can add a PDF resource here for students to be able to access. You can add a link to a particular website, or here you can also go back to that app screen to choose an app that you would like to add for your students. That would be personalized to your class and your needs. So I'm just going to add some categories here. Since I can't add actual resources, I'm just going to add a category there. And the category itself is going to personalize based on the type of app that you add. And so that will do that. I'll add a PDF here as well. We will add to this the Magnus flyer because that's super exciting. Don't worry, Brittany, I'll delete it so that your students don't see it. And then you can choose which category it's in based on the categories you have. You can choose a little icon for it and then add PDF. And then that's going to begin showing up here. Now, if you want to change your category title, you do that at the top once you have something in it. And now that will show up to my students. So I'm going to leave that there so that you can see the student side. All right. I do want to go back now that we have done the student side of what you have access to and show you just also what you as a teacher have access to and how great this tool is. So as you're here, you can use the different tiles. So as a teacher, this is a single sign-on for you. So for example, if you click McGraw-Hill and you're a teacher that has a Connect Ed account, which we're about to see if Brittany does, I believe she should, then it would log me in directly to that. So again, your students also have the single sign-on, so you don't have to log in and out of resources. Just by being in Clever, you are already logged in to each of these tools. Another one, for example, BrainPop Junior. If I'm clicking on that, because I've already logged into Clever, it is going to automatically log me in as Brittany to BrainPop Junior. So this Clever tool is very helpful for disseminating information, but also for having that access. Now, please excuse me, I'm going to switch portals. So what you're about to see is not something that you will do on your end, but I want to switch to a student view for you. So I'm going to switch to one of Brittany's students and coincidentally an initial twin for Brittany. We're going to look at Braylon Allen's account. And again, this is not something that you'll do on your end. I am just going to log in as Braylon. And now you can see a student's portal. So this is what Braylon would see when he logs in. You'll see that his screen looks kind of similar to a teacher's. He has the portal option up top, and then he has that messages. But again, as long as we're all have messages turned off, he won't have access to this. So Braylon can change his name, and he can download his badge. So if a parent is at home and asking you about the badge information, you could always recommend they go ahead and download their own if you haven't given them one. That way they have one for safekeeping. On his page, you can see at the top, we see Miss Armstrong's page here that I've saved. You can see Miss Kimes, Mrs. McAleer's, and Mrs. Carey's. I'll show you a few features of those in a second. And the rest of this page is what we have pushed out from the district for Braylon based on, again, his subjects and his grade levels, what he may need access to. If something is missing from your students' main pages, let us know. You can also add that into your own personal page. So over to the left, this is the categories. So you'll see teacher pages. If he clicks academic services, it's going to take him further down on the page. And there's also the option for more apps. So that is, again, just a category. So students can add apps like you can. That is only for you to do. And that is the basics. That is all that a student has on their end. So what's really important here is that you know they only have access to what we give as a district, or they have access to what you put in a teacher page. So let's click on Mrs. Armstrong's page. You can see there the Magnus flyer that I added. So now Braylon has access to that. I also want to show you Mrs. Carey's page because she has added a few resources for her students that are different than what we have on the page. This is a great example. You can see the difference between something that's been added by the district and something that's been added by the teacher. And again, this is personalized to Mrs. Carey's page. Very easy for the students to find and get into, and a great view for the students. I hope you've enjoyed this quick tutorial. Don't worry, Brittany, I'm going back to your class now, taking that off and unsharing it so that you have control over that. And if you have any questions, everybody, I am here to help. Thank you so much. Have a great day.